welcome back to Backstage. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode on YouTube, etc. Let us know what you think as well in the comments with any of the discussions that we had. So we're going to start off with a dilemma. And the question is, how do you end a friendship gently without turning it into a whole thing? I've been friends with this girl for 6 years, but it's run its course. We're not compatible anymore. She's very boy obsessed, has no goals outside of getting engaged. And every time we talk, it's surface level and draining. I'm career focused, into my hobbies and want deeper conversations, but she couldn't care less. I've tried pulling back, dodging plans, not answering FaceTimes, politely declining invites, but she won't take the hint. She has major abandonment issues as she grew up in foster care. So anytime I start distancing, she hits me with the, you're like my family, like because she has no family. And then I start to feel bad, but it's starting to feel manipulative. I've even called her out for only wanting to talk about her boyfriend. And she said, you act like being in love is a bad thing. If you had a man with a dick like mine.
We know what?
He'd be the only thing you want to talk about too. I wish I was making that up. It's cringy and she misses the point every time. I don't hate her. I just want to downgrade to acquaintances. We don't vibe anymore and I don't need friendships. And I need friendships with depth. Ghosting isn't ideal since we share mutual friends. But I can't keep faking it either. How do I handle this?
Hey, yeah.
There's a lot to unpack, and I hate that.
Unpack.
There's a lot to unpack there, and I really don't like to unpack.
What do you guys think about the situation?
There's a couple of folds. I can understand why the friend that sent this in is feeling like we're not vibing anymore. We should just drop down to acquaintances. We don't really talk about the same things. You're quite boy obsessed. Like you always talk about your boyfriend. I can understand how that would be quite irritating to someone. But the only conversation you're having is about your boyfriend and stuff like that. But then again, on the other person's, the friend that she's talking about, I can understand that how she grew up, how she was raised is not the norm. Like you're in foster care and stuff like that. So maybe she doesn't, I don't know what the term is. Maybe she just isn't aware of what she's doing. And obviously the friend has said that she's brought it up to her multiple times and it feels like she keeps on saying you're my family and stuff like that. And then I understand how the friend could be feeling guilty about someone that was growing up in foster care now saying you're my family, you're the only family I have, blah, blah, blah. I can understand. Like, honestly, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
I find it tricky, man. I just feel like, because, anyways, Patreon. I've seen it, and I think you'll know who I'm talking about, where someone was like really good friends with someone, and then they became like very like career driven, wanting to like make everything that they do just solely focus on their business, and then essentially like they dropped a lot of friends that they had. I don't know how she did like had that conversation, but basically said that our friendship and our relationship is not really satisfying me, or like doesn't really like give me what I need. Like I'm in a different space now, and like it's not the time to be joking around. Basically. And I don't know, I find stuff like that tricky because I can understand being in a situation where you're trying to lock in and nobody else is locking in. Like, it's very difficult to go on a journey by yourself, and you ideally want your friends to be in a similar-ish journey to help you, and like you help each other, and it facilitates an amazing environment. But I'm very, very of the opinion where it's like people play different parts, and like I understand that you may have at the beginning like had like some sort of a good friendship or whatever, or it served you, even though you said that it was surface level, but it served you in some capacity. But I just don't feel like you have to go to the extent of like cutting off somebody, like, and I know you're saying go down to like acquaintances, but like you don't need to, I don't know if I'm making it seem like a bigger deal than what it is, but it's just like you don't have to make this a big deal. Like, does it mean now that you go down to acquaintances that when she still talks about her boyfriend, you're not going to listen? Because I don't see exactly what changes in terms of you now saying I go down to acquaintances. Is it that you're going to tell her, don't come and tell me about you don't even want to hear her topics, even though they are high level?
I think she's basically just saying that, like, with acquaintances, you don't really meet up with them. It's kind of like when you see them. It's hey. You don't proactively go out of your way to, like, find out how they're doing or have phone calls and things like that. And I think that that's the kind of relationship she wants. Like, she wants more of a, like, when I see you, but there's no need for us to be meeting up and speaking and, like, going out, doing things one-on-one.
Yeah, I don't know. I still find that very tricky. And someone said, I need to find the video, but I don't want to search right now. But a lady had like a special poem about like the beauty of friendships, and basically like when you get, and it's a bit of a different situation, but I feel like it touched on the same theme about friendships, right? She was like, when you get into relationships, like, don't forget your friends. And it was an amazing poem. Like, I basically like was crying towards it, and even the person I was reading ended up crying as well. I'll find it. Oh, you saw it as well? Okay, cool. And I don't know, I just feel like there is power and beauty in long-term friendships, or people that you've had in a different stage of your life. And yes, for example, you're now in a stage where you're like trying to elevate, you're trying to go, but like sometimes being so direct and really cutting off anybody that doesn't fit this whole new identity, it can sometimes come back to bite you later on, because it's those people sometimes that actually, even though you might feel like it's surface level, but they actually like have like some sort of like genuine interest in you. Like, I don't know how to explain, like they'll be there to like support you. Like all these new friends you're making that you now feel like, oh yeah, we're all gonna be money go-getters, planning our business. Every time we meet now is Q1 goals. Okay, what are we gonna do? But sometimes you might now need someone that you just want to vent to, or somebody that you might want to cry on, and you're not going to get that from this people that only fit your aesthetic of business. I'm trying to grow and elevate myself. Like, you might not get that actual genuine support. So I don't know, I just find it very tricky. Like, I understand it, but I'm just like, I just feel like sometimes cutting people off completely and making it a big deal will actually do you more harm than good. I feel like all the adjustment you're talking about, where you're saying, oh, don't speak to them as much, or that, like, you can just do that, but that doesn't have to mean that now it's like, oh, now I'm downgrading you to an acquaintance level. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking the fact that she wants to like, she's thinking about it and she's like, oh yeah, how do I like tell her? Like, what do you have to say to her? You don't have to say anything really in my eyes. But that's just like my perspective on like this whole friendships and transitioning.
I see it kind of differently, actually. I don't know, like, the essence of this situation is just like, she feels like she doesn't really have anything in common with this girl anymore, which happens. Like, you could have been friends when you were children, and then as time goes on, you grow apart. And I think she's basically trying to explain, like, we just don't have anything in common. I don't think it's necessarily a thing of like, I'm trying to lock in and she's not trying to lock in, but I think she's just using that as an example, like, of how like, not far apart, but like how far apart they are in terms of their friendship, where it's like, she's over here and does not want to have anything to do with that. Because what she also said in the dilemma is like, when I then start, like, all she wants to talk about is her boyfriend, like, so she's talking about her boyfriend, I'm listening. When I want to talk about my business and stuff, she becomes immediately disinterested. And so I think she's basically saying, like, clearly we've grown apart. Like, even the things that, because it's not, you don't have to have things in common with every single one of your friends. Like, you don't all have to be the same person. But I feel like you should try and have like a genuine interest in the things that your friends are interested in. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, like, Adesola loves cooking and baking and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, I literally cannot bake, but like, she'll be like, oh, I don't know how to do this thing, or I've been looking on Instagram and I was like trying to figure out like how to make this. I have no idea how to do that. But me too, I'll get up my Instagram and be like, oh, is it like this, or could you do it like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't think you guys have to have the same hobbies or the same career or the same like goals in life. But I think what her frustration is like, you're not even a friend, because really and truly, I'm trying to talk to you about my own life, and you're immediately disinterested, and you're telling me that if I had a man who gave me dick the way that your man gave me, then you would be talking about him too. Like, I feel like that's actually quite rude. And I feel like these women that get into relationships and then their whole personality is just their relationship. Like, even like, I can understand like how that can be annoying, especially if that's not where you are in life right now. Like, you're on a different agenda, like different path, different agenda. Not one is better than the other. It's just different, and it's like, I should be afforded the same.
Can I pause you there? So in the context where you said that someone like gets into a relationship and makes it their whole personality, like I definitely understand how that's annoying. But let's say, for example, in the context where, yes, now that is the exciting stage that she's in her life, right? Mm-hmm. So that might be all she talks about. Mm-hmm. Is it that you're saying, okay, cool, I don't want to hear that, or is it because you said that, oh, like she might not be in that stage as well, or is it more just when she talks that babe needs to listen as well? Because I feel like sometimes, like, I just have to accept that if like you go into a relationship now and everything's absolutely fine, and me, I'm on my I hate men, like whatever agenda I might be on, I will still, even though I'm not in that situation, I will still hear everything you're saying because I'm happy for you ultimately. Like, you're talking about something that is in your life, is current. But obviously, if I then come and said my own thing about something else and then you disengage, that's why I'm like, okay, cool,
that's what she's describing.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that when you mention about the whole, like, sometimes you don't want to hear that, I don't feel that's a valid thing about when you don't want to hear something that your friend's going through just because you aren't in that.
I didn't say that. And you were enjoying that, weren't you? You thought you were going to get this content for free? Impossible. To watch the full episode, sign up using the link below.